All right, everybody. Good afternoon. It's the Fantasy Sports Boss. Welcome to Fantasy Football Friday. Here we are. We've made it to Friday, December 8th, 2023. And we have a lot to talk about. Like, does anybody want to play running back? We have so many injuries, so many bad weather games this week. It is throwing everything into chaos. But if you tuned into the stream yesterday, if you were here yesterday, I told you all Ezekiel Elliott was a play because the offense was going to run through him. 27 PPR points later, and I put my money where my mouth was in my friends and family league. I started him. Wow, what a performance. So with James Conner on the bye for me, I needed to play somebody. I played Elliott, and he was phenomenal. However, in that same league, I found out today that Isaiah Pacheco is going to sit out with a shoulder injury for the Chiefs. And this one kind of snuck up on everybody, right? You know, at the end of the game last week, he was thrown out for throwing a punch. There was no indication that he got hurt. But then Wednesday, he missed the practice. Thursday, the alarm bells went off. And then today, he's been ruled out. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been named the starter. According to Andy Reid, Jerick McKinnon will filter in as the third down back. But Isaiah Pacheco is another big name back. He's been really hot lately, who is now out. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you're new. Also, we had a couple of new members that joined up yesterday, so I don't see them in the chat yet, but if they are, I'll identify them. They'll have the little mark next to their name. If you're interested in becoming a member, you just hit that the join button on the homepage. No obligation. It's just an added addendum to the channel. Streams are always going to be free. But, you know, again, if you're also new to the channel, make sure you have that notification button, bell, whatever you want to call it, hit. So that way, whenever breaking news happens, or I just decide to do a random stream, that you're made aware when that's going to be. So, yeah. So I guess we start with the Pacheco situation. We got to start with the injuries, right? And the running back position as a whole, it is absolute chaos. All right. So, you know, we have no Brian Robinson and James Conner already because of the bye. We have now Isaiah Pacheco, who is out. We have a slew of the guys who have been lost for the season already coming up into this game. Now, you know, we also have Breece Hall, who's hobbled, although it looks like he's going to play. Bad weather games up and down the East Coast. Like, there's just a lot of issues going on. We have Austin Eckler, who's been arguably one of the worst running backs in football the last couple of weeks. Brandon Staley saying that, yeah, you know what? Like, we might be looking at some other guys, you know, behind him, give them a look, because Eckler is just not getting the job done. And, you know, listen, Eckler wanted a trade during the offseason. He tried to get himself on a new team. But, you know, nobody came calling. 28-year-old running back, was not surprising. And he now is at a situation where his numbers are really, really way down this year. He got hurt, high ankle sprain. Looks like it's still bothering him. And now it's an uncertain future. Like, I'm very curious at 29 next year what Austin Eckler's contract is going to be. It might even drop all the way to a one-year deal. A lot of wear and tear on him the last 2+ seasons, no doubt about it. Aging backs also don't get paid. So, you know, if you're an Eckler owner like me in my work league, it could be a little dicey going forward. That same league, I have Aaron Jones. No guarantee he's going to play. He's limited this week. Matt LaFleur met with the media. He said he's not sure about his availability. And, of course, the Packers, of course, play Monday. And I don't want to get caught in that situation again where I had to play Patrick Taylor to overcome a 1.5-point deficit. And Taylor got 2+ that game, you know, last month. So I'm going to have to bench Aaron Jones in that league. Now, luckily, I have the number 1 seed locked up. So, you know, this week is really not that important. But just a lot of running back question marks coming into this week. Start Love over Herbert. Yes, Hans, you got to start Love over Herbert. Love is way too hot right now not to play. He's taking on a Giants team that gives up the most fantasy points to wide receivers over the last month. Jordan Love is the easy choice. Everything is collapsing right now with the Chargers. Josh Palmer, I don't think, is going to return. Keenan Allen can't do it by himself. Austin Eckler looks shot. It's just a bad situation. Yeah, Brandon Staley, Jermaine, like, he's done. He knows he's done. Another guy who is a better coordinator than a coach. You know, does Bill Belichick end up on the West Coast? There's the quarterback. We keep hearing about these Commanders rumors. I don't think that's the right fit because they don't have a quarterback. Sam Howell's having a nice season, although lately he's getting exposed as the season goes on, turning the ball over a lot. I'm not sure he's the answer, even though he has put up a lot of fantasy points this season. But he's definitely going to be out, Staley. Drop Roschon for CEH. Yeah, I picked up CEH in my work league. I picked up CEH in my friends and family league. That's where I have Pacheco, and I'm starting him. So this week in my friends and family league, where I'm fighting for the number 1 seed now, so I rallied. I've won 3 of the last 4 games after that 2-5 stretch. I played Elliott last night, and now I'm going to play Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So it's like 2019 fantasy football. Is what I'm doing here with these 2 guys. I was wondering if he gets suspended for game. Looked like he hurt his hand too, but it's a shoulder. Yeah, he's not going to be suspended, but a shoulder issue. And Andy Reid also didn't discount the possibility that Pacheco could go on IR. So, I mean, are you kidding me? Like, this is what – don't need this going to the playoffs. Swift, Noah Brown, Rashee Rice. I have to go Rashee Rice. There's going to be a lot of points scored in that game. And I don't trust Swift right now. Just scooped up Fields, dropped over by. Yeah, you know what? Fields is got a good matchup against the Lions. I think he's going to ball out this week. The Lions are not stopping anybody. Dylan McKinnon, Foreman, Elijah Moore. Mark, I'm going Elijah Moore. He had a ton. I think it was 12 targets last week. Joe Flacco, the perfect quarterback for Elijah Moore. They have chemistry from their time at the Jets. The targets are going to continue to flow. Like I said from the beginning, when Flacco was named the starting quarterback for the Browns, this is going to help their receivers because he's not going to escape the pocket and look to run. Kupp, Clyde, Flowers, Kincaid. A lot of bad weather matchups there. If Dawson Knox plays, like if he's activated, I would shy away from Kincaid. But if Knox is out, I'm definitely going to play Kincaid in this week because there's going to be a lot of points. If not, I'd say maybe, believe it or not, I might say Clyde because, again, Flowers and Kupp are in some really hellacious weather this week. Rams versus Washington or Falcons versus Carolina. Rams. I'm going the Rams the rest of the fantasy playoffs. Rashee Rice or Rice. I'm definitely going Rice there. I'm just trying to catch up on some questions. Thoughts on Josh Palmer? It could work in a deeper league, but I'm not actively using him. Chiefs offense has been bad. It's just not working. Here, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. And Lex, I think you should drop Khalil Herbert absolutely for CEH, no doubt about it, because it's going to be there as far as the workload. Travis Kelce, I think we're seeing the decline now. I think last year was the peak. And this is the risk we run. And I was screaming to the rafters this summer about my willingness to take him in the first round. It has not paid off. The mid-first round pick has not paid off right now for Travis Kelce. And, he could still have a big finish. He could be a hero in the playoffs, and then all is forgotten. But injuries have cropped up this year. He looks like a half a step slow. And I've watched every game this year, and I'm the biggest Kelce fan. He looks a step slow. I don't think it's anything to do with his relationship with Taylor Swift. That's just complete nonsense. It's just stupid. But I think Kelce is now at 35, which is not surprising, on the downside of his career. It's starting. It's not steep. He's still a very, very good player. But here's the other thing. The massive influx of new tight ends this year, Kincaid, Laporta, who am I missing? The guy in Arizona, McBride. That's who I was trying to come up with. All of these young tight ends have now made it to where drafting Kelce in the first round is really not the best idea now, because you could still get a really good tight end. And all of those guys, Laporta, Kincaid, McBride, have been tremendous values you either drafted late or picked up off the free agent wire. I got McBride as late as week 11, I believe, this season. So, and Schultz was another one. Until he got hurt. He's not playing this week. So the advantage, I should say, of having Kelce on your team is not as stark as it once was. So I think his days as a first-round pick might be finished. As a matter of fact, next year, there's going to be chatter about maybe Sam Laporta challenging for that top spot, depending on how he finishes. Hey, Boozy, how are you? Long time no see as well. Yeah, Dalton Schultz is out, Mark. He's out. Drop Hollywood for Rams D. I have Browns. Yeah, like I said, I'm using the Rams D the rest of the playoffs. I mean, I think they have the Giants, they have the Commanders, and they have another Patsy. I'm not sure who it is. Picked up Kate out last week. Job 0 point. Yeah, and I benefited from that last week for sure. Let's go through some of these injuries. So Tyler Higbee's not playing. And again, guys, we have multiple bad weather games. Excuse me. And I went over the injury report yesterday. The Jets at home to the Texans. I really think if you have a solid quarterback alternative, you bench CJ Stroud. Like, I'm not even playing just because we've already gotten weather alerts here in New York and I'm out on Long Island. The winds, the gusts are going to be 40-mile-an-hour gusts, sustained 30 miles an hour. So it is going to be a very bad day to throw the football. Garrett Wilson, I benched him. I have benched Garrett Wilson. Now I'm playing Tyler Lockett, which is not a great matchup either against the 49ers, but I'd rather have him than Zach Wilson throwing to Garrett Wilson in the gale force winds, pouring rain. So, and yes, Jermaine, it is a smash spot, the Texans defense. So I'm benching him. You have also Cleveland, Jacksonville, bad weather in that game. Trevor Lawrence is actually, I think he's going to play, which is just unbelievable that he's even upright at this point. All the respect in the world to him that he's going to try to gut this out. But there's bad weather for that game. Baltimore, Los Angeles, the worst of all the games in terms of weather. Gusts to possibly 50 miles an hour. Heavy rain the entire game. Like, just impossible conditions to throw it. Odell is a bench for me. I actually do think Cooper Kupp is a bench. I think Puka Nacua, wide receiver 3, maybe. It's going to be a tough day for the passing game. Matthew Stafford is a bench for me. Lamar, you could play because Lamar's going to run. He's going to be forced to run. I think Isaiah Likely you can play as well. And if Higbee was active in a deeper league, maybe I would play Higbee. But that is a bad weather game as well. What was the other one? I thought there was another one there. And it was Cleveland, Jackson. Oh, Cincinnati, Indianapolis. There's another one. So Cincy, Indianapolis, we might be seeing bad weather for that game as well. So these are all variables that are throwing things for a loop in terms of fantasy football this week. CEH or McKinnon? CEH. So we already had Andy Reid talk about today that CEH is going to be the guy. He's going to be the first second down back. I mean, listen, CEH turned out to be a bust. I know when he first got drafted, there was a lot of excitement. Last pick of the first round, PPR friendly value from his time in college. Like, it looked like it was going to work. We thought Brian Westbrook 2.0 under Andy Reid. It just has not happened to the point where he allowed a 7th round pick from Rutgers, talking about Pacheco, to surpass him on the depth chart. But there's going to be a lot of points in this game, lots of scoring against the Bills. They're going to have to throw it. Edwards-Helaire is a good receiver. McKinnon is not going to run the ball. So I think CEH can carve out, 14 fantasy points in PPR. I think he can get there. Dearness Johnson is a handcuff, nothing more. Likely, yeah, I think Isaiah Likely can be worth using this week. He's like the only Ravens offensive player that I would play in terms of the pass catchers. Gibbs or Achane, playoff life on the line. Achane. I think you got to go Achane. And Gibbs' usage was a little weird last week. But Achane, this is another game where the Dolphins are going to jump out ahead quickly, and that's going to give Achane more work. Remember last week when the game was competitive, Raheem Mostert got the majority of touches, and then when it got out of hand, it was the Achane show, and I think that could happen here as well. Josh Palmer was limited. He's out Sunday, so another week. Lamar Jackson, Bateman, and Beckham, all good to go, but again, bad weather for this game. Jets versus Rams D for playoffs. Rams D. I'm playing the Rams D. Breece Hall, questionable with an ankle injury, but we have Robert Saleh today saying he thinks he's going to go. Now, for Breece Hall, the rushing numbers have been embarrassing, like just, beyond bad, to the point where if he wasn't catching the 4, 5, 6 passes a game, he's an absolute bench option. Like, it just shows you how bad the Jets offense has been, that they have literally 2 generational talents. Like, if Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback, Garrett Wilson could be a top 5 PPR receiver and Breece Hall a top 5 back. Like, that's how talented they are. They're being dragged down by awful offensive line play and like comical quarterback play. All right, let's see. So Dalton Schultz ruled out. So no Schultz, no Tank Dell. Again, Jets secondary, as good as it gets in the NFL. Pass defense has not given up more than one passing score in like the last 2 months to a quarterback. Samaje Perine didn't practice today. Not sure we have to worry about. So Chris Olave has not. He didn't practice again today. He didn't practice yesterday. He has the flu, right? The flu. Who knows? They say he's going to play. I think he'll be out there. Lamar Jackson was sick. He practiced today. I don't think players are going to miss a game due to illness. So David Carr still in the concussion protocol. I really would like to see Carr miss this game, not just because I don't even own shares of Olave, but I think it's ridiculous that Derek Carr, with his second concussion, could play in this game. Like, it just doesn't seem right to me. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Geno Smith questionable, as is Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. Carroll's going to update this. Pete Carroll's going to update this as we go forward here. And, Geno Smith is one of those guys who always plays through injury, so I'm not concerned about that. Kenneth Walker, on the other hand, I'm not sure he's going to play. The 49ers rush defense is really effective. That's what I was trying to say. I wouldn't play either one. I wouldn't play Walker. I wouldn't play Charbonnet. They're going to have to throw the ball a lot coming back from behind. It was embarrassing, the Seattle performance on Thursday Night Football on Thanksgiving a number of weeks ago. I think they're going to adjust from that game. And listen, Geno Smith played great against Dallas last week. DK Metcalf, 40-point game in PPR, 3 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett, 8 targets. JSN did well. So I think all those guys can be played this week, but not the running backs. Where do you rank Tajay Spears as a handcuff? He's the top handcuff. I don't think they're going to shut Derrick Henry down because it's going to be his last few games with the Titans. So I don't see that happening. I think Tajay Spears is the number one handcuff in football right now. Lockett or Elijah Moore? I would go Elijah Moore there. Even if there's bad weather there, he's a short to intermediate pass option. Andy Reid said Clyde Edwards-Helaire will start, which we talked about. All right, Dallas Goedert off the injury report. So Dallas Goedert is back just in time. Get him back in the lineup. Lots of points, lots of passing. Dallas, Philadelphia, we saw a couple of weeks ago how massive the fantasy point totals were for all involved. Jake Ferguson is, going to absolutely almost a lock to score a touchdown. Anytime touchdown for him is a good bet this week. The Eagles don't stop the tight end. Dak Prescott, the best quarterback in fantasy the last 2 months, is going to feast. Jalen Hurts as well. Like, there's just a lot of players. And the only negative possibly is that Devontae Smith, who always balls out with Dallas Goedert, might see his numbers drop down a little bit. Hey, Birdman, how are you? Blessings to you as well. Gibbs or Puka for playoffs? Gibbs. Trevor Lawrence, officially questionable. CJ Beathard off the injury report. So if Lawrence plays, and it really does sound like he's going to go, which is amazing to me. Doug Peterson said game time decision. So you know what this means. They're going to work him out prior to the game, see if he can get it going, get that ankle loose enough, and a high ankle sprain. This is like a big deal. I guess as a quarterback, though, just to stay in the pocket and throw it, it's not as bad clearly as a running back. Ramondre Stevenson has a high ankle sprain. We're not going to see him, I don't think, for another couple of weeks. And there's really no incentive for the Patriots to put Stevenson out there in a lost season. Just crazy stuff. Even if you're a critic of Trevor Lawrence, you have to respect him for gutting this out and being out there. I think Zay Jones becomes Zay Jones could be a tremendous sleeper for the playoffs with Lawrence under center. All right, Calvin Ridley has been incredibly inconsistent. Evan Ingram is the safety valve. But with no Christian Kirk, I think Zay Jones is going to step up there. And, Travis Etienne has to get going as well. Like, he hasn't been, last week was better, but the month before that, really, of games, he wasn't very good. Jonathan Taylor, we know, is out. Taysom Hill, questionable. He was not spotted at practice today. A little bit concerned about him. I was planning to play him as a flex, but I'm going to have to see how this goes here. Derek Carr, questionable, concussion, ribs, and shoulder. So he's got the hat trick of injuries. Again, all the respect to him. He wants to be out there every week. You look at like the leagues like the NBA with this bullshit, maintenance garbage that's ruining that league, and it's just a horrible product as it is. Talking about the NBA, you have guys like Derek Carr, Trevor Lawrence, who are suffering major injuries, but are still going to be out there. Like, I just think that's a great thing. Yeah, Ridley is weird. I'm the biggest Ridley guy. All season I've been boosting him to the point where it's kind of made me look bad at junctures of the season. And just when we are ready to jump off the bandwagon, he puts forth a 25-point game. That's just how it's been for Ridley. And you would think last week with Kirk going out, he would be the guy, but it was Evan Ingram. I think sustained, though, knowing Kirk is out for the rest of the season, they're going to design this offense now around Ridley and Ingram in the passing game with Jones as a complementary back. I still think Ridley has it in him to have a really big finish. All right, Taysom Hill, we talked about him. Aaron Jones was limited. I mean, on and on. He's progressing, but Matt LaFleur saying he's not ready to commit to Aaron Jones playing this week. I mean, just a joke. I mean, come on, man. It's time to get out there. Justin Jefferson, no injury designation, so Jefferson is back playing. Finally, I was able to survive his long absence in the one league I have him in, so pumped that he's back. In one league, Helen doesn't have an IR spot. Do you believe in the IR? Yeah, I do. Listen, in Yahoo leagues, and this has been a little bit of a source of controversy, there's, Yahoo allows you to put an injured player in the IR spot, even if he's only missing one game. Like, if he's not on the actual IR spot, but he misses a game, you could put him in there for that week. I do it. And the way I rule this is in both of my leagues is that if it's allowed in Yahoo to be done, then you do it. Because if you outlaw it, then the commissioner has to check everybody's lineup every week. Somebody's going to do it. Like, all right, you got to change it. And if he doesn't do it on time, it skews everything. So if the software is there and Yahoo allows you to do it, then you have to allow it. Nobody's going to want to police that throughout the course of the season. There's just no way. Dawson Knox is questionable. Again, if Dawson Knox plays, then Dylan Kincaid, we need to dial him back. He only had one double-digit PPR game with Knox in the lineup. Yeah, we talked about Pacheco. I mean, just unbelievable there. Lamar Jackson is recovered, so whatever he had there, he looks like he's ready to go. Christian Watson did not practice. Christian Watson's not going to be able to play. And just when he was getting his season going, he has the hamstring. Dontavian Wicks, because Jaden Reed is also banged up. I think Dontavian Wicks is somebody, if you're desperate this week, he's been 40 yards minimum the last couple of games. I think Dontavian Wicks could be somebody that helps you out in a pinch if you need it. All right, Geno Smith, groin injury we talked about. Sean Mannion is back from the practice squad, which is a little concerning for me. Amari Cooper back practicing, but I don't know if Amari Cooper is playing. Like, he hasn't cleared the concussion protocol again, so we're going to have to update that as we go through tomorrow. James Cook, Edwards-Helaire, Madison. I'd have to say James Cook. I think James Cook's going to get a lot of targets. It's an all-hands-on-deck game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And we have a couple of those, like Cowboys, Eagles, another all-hands-on-deck game. So I think both of these games, you're playing all of these guys, like 100%, no doubt about it. Again, we have the weird schedule this Sunday. We have the double Monday night game, which is, I just don't understand again why that's the case. I don't know if there's like a special reason for that. Why I didn't see anything. Like, I'm not sure why that was the case. But for me, like I said, Aaron Jones being the Monday game, I cannot play him. I'm not going to wait around on him again, only to see him be, not activated at the last minute. Like, that's just rough. So, but anyway, so like Sunday, the usual stuff all day Sunday, instant injury analysis, live stream in the morning, all that stuff. So make sure you stay tuned for that. The Christmas game. Okay. I see what it is. Yeah. And listen, with Christmas coming up and, the schedule falls on Christmas Eve and Christmas. Like, that's not ideal. It's not like Thanksgiving where like, football every year is on Thanksgiving. You kind of plan the meal around it, but Christmas Eve, all the games pretty much are on. It adds a little bit more of a stressful viewing dynamic. Flexing Keaton Mitchell over Brees Hall. Yeah, I would do the same. Brees Hall, it's just a mess there. It really is. And Keaton Mitchell is a big play waiting to happen. He's just got legit skills for sure. All right, guys, that's it for Football Friday. I'm going to jump out here. Just a short stream today. I just wanted to talk about all those injuries today. So I appreciate you tuning in. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you're new. Become a member if you would like. And like I said, no streams tomorrow. But I would play James Cook over Keaton Mitchell, Birdman. But make sure Sunday tune in for the live stream in the morning. We can go over the injuries again, all the questions you have. So stay tuned for that. So guys, have a great Friday evening. Enjoy, and we will talk soon. Take care.